Temporary bypass now being constructed in Pokase. Health Minister issues warning about the misuse of antibiotics, and disaster officials call on the public to prepare for the 2013 hurricane season. Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm Pearl Fontaine.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Stay with us for the details of the headline stories and more right after the break.
The Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development presents Math in Action, making math interesting and fun. Our master teachers will help you improve your problem-solving skills so that you can ace that exam, helping you conquer the most difficult math problems. At any level, we'll make it simple through easy-to-follow tutorials. Join us every week on the Government Information Service for Math in Action, brought to you by the Numeracy Task Force of the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development.
Documentaries and in-depth discussions, community walkthroughs, and Yes We Care. See it all on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. Construction crews have begun work on a temporary bypass along the Pokase Road, but it will be a few days before drivers start to use this temporary road. Public Works Minister Honorable Rayburn Blackmore told GIS News on Tuesday that this project became necessary following the collapse of a section of that road last Friday.
That we're going to embark on some form of intervention before we proceed to the actual more permanent structure to be constructed on the site down at the Pokase area. And what we are trying to do right now is to provide a temporary access for both vehicular traffic and pedestrians alike. And as you can see, that work has actually started. And the intention, therefore, is to have this temporary crossing to be ready within a 10-day period of time. And we're indeed very happy, and then we have taken into consideration as a government that the plight of the people from La Pauline and Cassius and all the persons living on that portion of the country, I mean, it's critical. And then we have, as a government, to ensure that we put systems in place to address the needs of the people. So we're confident that once the weather holds up, that we can, within the next 10 days, provide this temporary access for both vehicular traffic and pedestrians.
The temporary bypass project is expected to relieve drivers of the current inconvenience. It will also improve safety and journey time. Minister Blackmore says as a long-term measure, the ministry will construct a box culvert to prevent a reoccurrence of last Friday's incident.
In terms of the long-term intervention, what we're proposing to do, we are almost complete with the actual design and doing the quantities to put a cost into it. We're going to have what we call a box culvert structure, and to ensure that what transpired last week will not happen again.
Minister Blackmore says the ministry will also undertake a full study of the entire Pokase Road to determine the integrity.
As we traverse from the roundabout to that area where the incident took place, we're talking about 1.6 kilometers of road. Within that alignment, we'll have something like 14 areas where culverts have been installed. So we, within the next couple of days and weeks, we'll be doing some form of investigation to look at the integrity of those structures. Because what transpired there, by way of advice that I've received, is that over 40 years ago, you had the placing of culverts to a depth of 50 feet thereabout. But the culverts were simply placed on tarish. So you had no concrete, you had no mortar. So notwithstanding the fact that some of the culverts were effective, but the joints were dislodged, and then that in itself gave rise to some form of erosion and the subsequent collapsing of that section of road. So we have to ensure, as we have been doing as a government, that we put in place proper mitigating factors.
On Tuesday, Dominica's head of state, His Excellency Eliud Williams, officially visited the site where the accident occurred.
In more news, the Ministry of Health remains committed to reducing the impact of healthcare-associated infections at the island's medical facilities. Health Minister Honorable Julius Timothy gave that assurance when he addressed the start of a surveillance of healthcare-associated infections workshop on Tuesday. Healthcare-associated infections are defined by the World Health Organization as infections occurring in a patient during the process of care in a hospital or other healthcare facilities which are not present or incubating at the time of admission. The minister says recently the Princess Margaret Hospital implemented a system whereby patients with respiratory illnesses are placed in a separate ward as a means of containing the infection.
We are presently in the process of completing a ward for the cohorting of patients with respiratory infections such as influenza. This is to say, patients with infectious respiratory illnesses will be managed on a separate ward to minimize spread to other sections of the hospital. While our soon-to-be-built new hospital will have these features as well, in the interim, and especially with the appearance of the new strain of bird flu in China, we are moving ahead with these arrangements.
Meanwhile, the health minister has warned that antibiotics should only be taken if prescribed by a medical practitioner.
I must take the opportunity to remind the public that taking antibiotics is nothing one should take lightly. Taking antibiotics for the wrong reason, at the wrong dosage, or for the wrong duration can lead to serious problems with drug resistance. Antibiotics should only be taken if prescribed by a licensed medical practitioner, so that the practice of taking a few leftover pills from someone else will end up doing a lot more harm than good in the long run. When such superbugs emerge, it is difficult to eliminate them, and the efforts and prevention and control of healthcare-associated infections become even more of a challenge.
The minister also took the opportunity to call on all healthcare professionals to adopt the highest standards of infection prevention and control practices and behavior.
President of the Dominica State College, Dr. Donald Peters, intends for the institution to be a life-changing experience to students. Dr. Peters was speaking to GIS News about the college's internship program on Tuesday when he made the remark. The Dominica State College in recent times has been improving its operations to compete with other tertiary education institutions. The college's internship program, which has assigned over 300 students at workplaces to gain practical work experience, is one of those avenues. Another initiative currently under development is an agribusiness partnership.
We want to be the college that changes people's lives, one student at a time. And the way you do that is by giving them the academic background and the learning skills that they need to make a living for themselves. We want to push agribusiness and tourism as in the future. We're working with Dalhousie University in Canada to set up a program where our students who are doing agriculture can learn how to get involved in agribusiness and make profits for themselves.
This collaboration, says Dr. Peters, is what makes an impact on the quality of education students receive.
We believe that partnerships between both private, public sector and the college is the future of Dominica State College and the future of our country. So the college cannot exist by itself. In the old days, universities and colleges believed they were smarter than everybody else. They just teach people and then tell them go to work. You can't do that anymore. You have to have partnerships between the businesses and the college. Because one of the things we do here is we modify our curriculum to meet the needs of business. We can't be educating people and when they come work for you, they have no skills, the skills that you need. So you have to tell us what you need and as a business, and we infuse it into our curriculum to put out a better graduated student.
The DSC's internship program is just one facet of its strategy aimed at student-centered learning. Dr. Peters called for more members of the private sector to be a part of the process.
We're continually asking businesses to work with us and partner with us in internship programs. And to date, the businesses have been very responsive. We're now approaching smaller businesses because The advantage of getting student interns is that you don't have to pay them much. So you get employees almost for free, and they come with a lot of energy to work. So small businesses, we want to ask them to take a couple of students. But one thing we require them is to ensure that they educate the students. The student must learn something. Every business has something to teach our kids. Kids learn marketing, sales, all of those factors. They learn English, they learn psychology, sociology, but they need to be able to implement that in a work environment. And the businesses provide that environment in which to utilize those skills. So what we'd like to do is ask all the small businesses to come to us, and one student is fine. Any group that can employ 1 or 2 students, we're happy to bring them on board.
According to the college president, the island will be better off because of the internship program, since it proves that the DSC is playing its role in producing employable students to boost the local economy. And right now we have one of those students with us, Rianne O'Brien from the Dominica State College. Hi, Rianne.
Hello.
Nice of you to join us.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're an intern here at the Government Information Service, and tell us a little bit about your experience.
Well, so far it has been an enjoyable experience because it's like being in the classroom and being taught certain things. When you come in the work environment, you don't really expect it. So it's kind of more fun than I expected, and I'm learning things that I never even thought I would learn.
Okay, and is this something that you would like to do later on down when you graduated from the Dominica State College?
At first, it was just to get an experience, but since I've been going through it, I think I want to further it a little bit more.
And I think you should tell the general public a little bit about exactly what it is that you've been doing here.
Well, we've been learning how to do news stories, how to do web pieces, how to make the news sound a little more exciting than just doing a normal essay or something like that.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you, Riyadh.
Okay.
In other news, with the 2013 hurricane season quickly approaching, disaster officials here are reminding the public that they should review all preparedness plans in order to be sufficiently prepared. Steve Joseph of the Office of Disaster Management says due to the unpredictability of weather patterns, it is even more important to be adequately prepared at a national and community level. Joseph warns that during inclement weather conditions, nationals should exercise extreme caution to avoid any unnecessary harm to life and property.
We want to ensure that the public knows that this condition, although it's not a storm and we're not in the hurricane season, has the propensity to affect the way of life of our people in a serious way. If you do not have to get out of your homes, remain indoors. Especially if you are in a safe area.
The Office of Disaster Management reported on Tuesday that heavy rainfall experienced on the island last week had in fact caused approximately 30 landslides across the country. These landslides occurred in the southern community of Petit-Savan, Dubique, along the road to Good Hope and Petit-Soufrière, along the Melville Hall to Port-Cassé and Port-Cassé to East Coast villages, and along the Emerald Pool to Castle Bruce area. The Office of Disaster Management also reported on Tuesday that in addition to the landslides, flooding occurred in several communities across the island, rendering roads impassable. Steve Joseph of the Office of Disaster Management told GIS News that 2 families were evacuated in the community of Dubique due to flood waters experienced last week.
In Dubique, we had to evacuate 2 families. A tree fell in one of the ravines, the river that runs through Dubique, and a 91-year-old lady had to be evacuated. A pregnant mother who also has another child had to be evacuated.
The disaster official has asked the general public to continue to be vigilant, especially if they reside in areas prone to landslides.
We are very concerned, and we are advising people to avoid areas prone to mudslides. We are advising people to avoid driving or walking in flood water. You never know what you will walk on or drive on.
Hurricane forecasters have predicted this year's hurricane season to be an above-average one.
The Discover Dominica Authority and the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force agree that tourist-related crimes have regional impact. Kathleen Cuffey of the Discover Dominica Authority, moderating a discussion on Wednesday, announced that although crime rates are low, the number of local tourist-related crimes could still be reduced. Cuffey was speaking with Chairman of the DDA, Benoit Badwell, and Police Corporal Jefferson Matthew when she reported the official figures for 2012.
In 2012, there was a series of burglary, especially in the northeast area, and that was of concern. Hence, several things were put in place, especially consultation, various consultation where we could hear from persons within the communities, because we may have our ideas as to how to curb these crimes, but they themselves, it's always good to listen. According to some of our statistical data from the police, approximately 139 crimes were committed against our visitors in the year 2012. This is alarming. It is in fact very alarming. One crime is in fact too many for Dominica, a small country like Dominica. So we, are the stakeholders involved in tourism. We have had several discussions, we've had consultations, and things are being done.
Police Corporal Matthew believes that every tourist-related crime reflects negatively on the image of the island and the region.
Crime will always have a negative impact on tourism. Tourism is one of the most important aspects of our economy. And in any country where crime is of alarming proportion will affect the tourism industry. Now, we do not look only at murders as crime, but we look at petty crimes as pickpocketing. Harassment can have a serious impact on the tourism industry. You have persons harassing the tourists, and you'll be surprised to know things that they harass the tourists for. Sale of drugs, harass tourists for money. And in the process, most times of pickpocketing the tourists, you find the perpetrators do not get what they want. Thus, seeing that they do not get finances, etc., they do away with the tourists, their credit cards and other most important valuables of the tourists.
Chairman of the Discover Dominica Authority, Benoit Badwell, referenced government's crime and antisocial behavior discussions as useful in reducing Dominica's crime rate.
The government, in fact, set up a team where they went to the various communities, including the Attorney General and several of the other stakeholders, the Hotel and Tourism Association, set up consultations to talk on the issues of crime and to try to find solutions to some of the nagging problems that persons were talking about. And so that too assisted, because in terms of the reports that came back, I'm certain that with the various stakeholder meetings that they had, there were several things that were said, and I'm sure, again, the police were in terms of was a focal point here in terms of the discussion. So we've seen some benefits of the kind of outreach program in terms of meeting the persons in these town hall style meetings and allowing persons to point to the things that are required.
According to Badwell, despite the incidence of tourist-related crimes, Dominica is still considered a safe haven.
I will still tell you that when they come to Dominica, it is the most pleasant persons or friendliest persons that they meet in the entire Eastern Caribbean chain. And we would like to remain so, because we tell people that Dominica is, in fact, the true Caribbean, which we speak about, where people are friendly, welcoming, and so on.
And that's the English news. Stay tuned for the tip of the day.
Listen closely and you will hear what climate change might sound like.
$30 for a hand of bananas?
Severe drought could destroy banana plants and drive food prices up.
And now we can see the dead coral reef below us.
Dead coral? I thought it was alive.
No, it's dead. If you look at the pictures, you can see what the coral used to look like.
Oh, wow.
Natural wonders like coral reefs are disappearing. But listen closely again, and you can hear the solution. People disposing of garbage responsibly and not in drains and rivers. people responsibly discarding engine oil. Our climate may be changing, but so can we. Making small changes together can have a huge effect on reducing the impacts of climate change. Act now. Rally, rethink, respond. This message is brought to you by the OECS Secretariat with funded assistance from USAID.
Today we'll share with you the benefits of drinking water with a splash of lemon. Lemons have strong antibacterial, antiviral, and immune-boosting powers and can be used as a weight loss aid and liver cleanser.
Drinking a lukewarm cup of water with lemon first thing in the morning can also boost your immune system, balance your pH level, and cleanse your skin of any impurities. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm.
Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Fontaine.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Thank you so much for watching.